What's up, everyone? Brent Hess here with Cagezilla Unchained, brought to you by the Wild Style Network. I'm here with Matthew Crawford, also known as Big Smile. Good to see you, my man. Good to see that smile on your face, and excited to have you on Cagezilla 82 here coming up December 14th. First of all, how you doing, man? And thanks for joining us.
I'm doing great. Blessed to be here. Thank you for having me. And, thanks to the whole Cagezilla staff for the opportunity coming up. Really excited about it.
Awesome, man. Yeah, we're really excited to have you on. Let's get right into it, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and kind of what led up to this point for you in the sport.
Sure. I was always a very active, physical youth and always been very large, even from a young age. So, I was 13, 14 years old, wrestling, watching UFC with my dad. I would see how the heavyweights move, and I was always like, I'm gonna get in there one day, and I'm gonna hang with them and meet a lot of them. So that's kind of when the dream started, and I continued with wrestling for a long time. Built a little jujitsu base once I stopped wrestling. Once I stopped wrestling, I was really hungry for something, and did jujitsu for a bit, and then 3, 4 years ago got into MMA. It was like the the brink of like COVID-19, so it was very difficult to find places to compete. So I took advantage of that, and I went out to street beefs, got some experience there before I made my amateur debut with you guys. Maybe 2 or 3 years ago now, I made the amateur debut with you guys.
Yeah, man, you've put in some work at Cagezilla. Now, before we get into that, Big Smile, you got to tell us, man, fill us in. How did you get that nickname? I think it's a very unique nickname. It's not like the typical thing that you hear from most people, like the Predator or the Nightmare. It's kind of like something positive, and I love that about the fight name. Tell us how you got it.
Sure. Well, that's really the type of person I am too. Like I'm never gonna start an issue with you or a fight with you outside of the cage. Like I'm a happy person. I'm very blessed to be living the life I am. And I was training at Fairfax Jiu Jitsu. My coach Bill Eastlick, he gave me the nickname. They had just started a MMA program for a little bit, and whenever I walked in the building, I was just like, I get very excited to participate in any type of martial arts. So I walk in there with a big grin, coach is teaching us. I'm just standing there, happy, ready to go. And then even more so when I'm competing, like there's even pictures of me way back in high school, maybe 16, 17 years old. But I have a half Nelson, I'm pinning someone and just like smiling to the camera. So even though
Yeah.
the nickname only came about once I started MMA, that was always kind of my persona anyways.
That's great, man. And now I seen on your Instagram you have Smiley Martial Arts, and it seems like you're giving back in some form to the martial arts community, to the community in general, working with some youth. Maybe tell us a little bit about that as well, because I think that's something that, for you to give back and for you to do something super positive in that regard. I do that as well with the Aikido gym, and I work with youth and all kinds of people from different walks of life. But I saw that you do that, and you're giving back, and you're working with the youth. Tell us a little bit about that, man, and how fulfilling that is for you.
Oh man, amazingly fulfilling. Used to work for other martial arts gyms and other people, and that's fulfilling as well. But Smiley Martial Arts is a little bit different than anything you've probably ever seen. I go to preschools and I go teach the preschool age children at the school. So they learn through dance, they learn through songs and games. We're going on a bear hunt, but we're in our fighting stance. And when the bear shows up, we're going to shadow box.
I love
And
that.
it's been such a blessing. I was a preschool teacher, administrator for almost 10 years before I really fully committed to martial arts. So it's a beautiful way to tie those two together, still be able to work with that young age group. And it also buys me back more time to spend with my daughter. Like, I don't have to quite work as much as I was since I'm working for myself, working with the schools directly. It's been quite a blessing. Any
Wow, yeah.
preschools out there, it's a play-based program I'm running, lots of fun. First class is always free, so reach out to me. And yeah, I would love to do that. Pretty
That is
booked up, but we could try and work it out.
That
Yeah.
is awesome, man. There's only one big Smiley, so you might have to hire and train some other Smiles to help you along the way. Any preschools, make sure you're hitting them up because it sounds like a fun program and it sounds like something that the youth really enjoy and they get something back from, and that's a beautiful thing. Now switching on to the other side of the spectrum, before we get into Cagezilla stuff, I heard you mention street beefs, man. How did that come about? What was the, I guess, motivation behind that? What did you gain from that? And just tell us about your experience there.
Sure. Like I'd always wanted to get started in MMA, compete, get active. So probably had only 2 or 3 weeks training, but I'd been watching those videos for a while. I found out it was in Virginia. I was like, okay, that's convenient. I joined the Facebook group and I was like, I'm gonna go out there, test myself. I thought I was built for this, but those things can confirm, and they did. And I'd recommend any amateur fighters to go fight there as frequently as you can because it's free experience. Our sanctioned bouts, they're a little bit different, but a lot goes into it. You got to get your medicals, your blood. It doesn't hurt to go out there. It's a lot like a smoker, except you also get that pressure of the cameras, lots of people watching you. So before you get started, or if you're having trouble getting a fight, I'd absolutely recommend going out there and you know, fighting in the dirt a little bit. Pretty fun. Pretty great.
And you're working with a little bit of the environmental aspects of things too, right? Like you're going to have to deal with hot days, cold days. I'm sure you dealt with that, right?
Yeah, that's one thing. You're pretty observant to notice that. Most people don't even think about that as a factor, but I've
Yeah.
been out there close to 100 degrees. I also been out there when it's freezing and you're
Wow.
barefoot and it rained the night before and the ground is icy
Hmm.
and you're slipping in the mud and you can't get your footing for your punches. So it's also grounding in a way, really. Like if I could fight every fight in the grass, I think I would. I like it. It's a very like connected to the earth type of thing.
Yeah, man. No, and you're definitely a warrior for going through that because when you're dealing with the elements, you're dealing with more than just stepping in a nice, comfortable, cool, air conditioned cage with a padded ground, man. You're on the real ground, and that's another thing. Now, going fast forward to Cagezilla, you have been. For the most part, quite the terror in the Cagezilla cage, and really dominating some of these big boys in there. Tell our fans what they can expect to see from you December 14th, come Cagezilla 82. I know I've seen you go before, man, and I know what you bring to the table. But tell our fans a little bit about what they can expect to see from you.
Wow, well, it can be tough to say for sure, but I can guarantee I'm going to push a pace. I'm going to be aggressive. And I'm excited to show you guys a lot of my new skills. It's been a long time since I fought in Cagezilla. Been training very hard with my team at Kaizen MMA. Very high level team. I've grown so much and haven't fought in a good bit here. So you guys are really going to see 2.0 or 3.0, another level for me. And I'm excited for it. I'm going to be aggressive and I'm going to let my hands go too.
Good. Yeah. No, and I don't know if you're a guy who kind of like studies your opponent. I'm sure you've seen him. He's got quite a bit of MMA experience as well. Not in the Cagezilla cage, but in other smaller promotions. Have you seen any footage on him? Have you studied him at all? Or are you kind of just like, hey, I'm ready to rock whoever it is? And if you have seen some stuff, what have you seen, or do you want to just save it for us for December 14th?
I like to study my opponents. I figure if there's anything out there, take advantage of it, look at their tendencies, see what type of fighter they are. So I do study him. You never want to put too much into it though, right? Because people can grow as fighters pretty fast.
Yeah.
But I've seen he's a big, strong guy, and I'm gonna try and use that to my advantage. I'm gonna use my cardio, I'm gonna use my footwork, and I'm gonna use my IQ as well. I could be pretty tricky in there, and you know, look for some surprises. You guys are definitely gonna get an amazing show, but you might be shocked.
Yeah, well, you're a big, strong guy too, man, and you always finish with that smile. I love to see that smile. That's awesome. We hope to see it on December 14th. Now, before we finish up here, give us a little quote, maybe a motto, something that kind of empowers you, maybe something your coaches have shared with you, something you've read that you can kind of share with our audience and maybe empower our audience a little bit here.
Okay, absolutely. When you said a quote, I know like I probably should have looked for someone else's, but like my motto when I get in the cage, outside the cage, it's always all smiles, all peace until we get in the cage and then we're snatching teeth. Yeah.
Say that again. I want to hear that one again. All smiles, all
Yeah.
peace, and then we're snatching teeth. That's a new one, man. That might be directly from the Big Smile himself. I mean, I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah. No, that is directly from me. But it's that's how I live. Like at the weigh-ins, I'm gonna hug my opponent. I'm gonna hope he's doing well. I'm gonna thank him for coming out. And, even before the match, we'll be buddies and then we're gonna really fight once it gets started. I'm not gonna hold anything back. But then once it's over again, if he wants, we could buy each other a beer, we could hang out, we could be buddies. So it's going to be great. I always treat people with respect and compassion. And, you know, I like all humans out there. And he's a great guy, I'm sure. I see he's a family man. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we get to put on a great show. And then, we can embrace afterwards.
Great, man. I like that attitude. I like that integrity. And that's a sign of a true professional, man. And that's what you are. So, well, hey, give us a way that we can follow you, support your journey, whether that be on your social medias or whatnot. Give our fans and our audience a way that they can show you a little love online.
Absolutely. On Instagram, I'm going to be Big Smile MMA. I also have my Facebook. It's going to be under Matthew Crawford. And then I have my business page for my businesses. That's always going to be Smiley Martial Arts. That's on Instagram. We also have a Google page if you ever want to check that out. Guys, follow me. I'll follow back. Follow my journey. It's only up from here. I'm very light on my feet for a heavyweight, very athletic heavyweight, working so hard. I've changed my whole lifestyle so I can train as much as possible. And it's really going to show in there December 14th. Do not miss it.
Yeah,
if you
man.
miss it, you're going to be seeing a lot of highlights. So be there in person, watch it. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to have a great time.
Yeah, man. 4-ounce gloves on heavyweights is always a great time. It seems like you really have a bright future ahead of you, man. I appreciate you joining us here, guys. Make sure you guys are coming out and watching Big Smile on December 14th at Cagezilla 82. You can pick up tickets at cagezilla.com. You can use promo code Kaizen to support him and his team and to receive discounts yourself. Matthew, thank you for joining me here today, man, and taking a little time out of your day to join us here. And I appreciate you. I hope training and everything continues to go awesome for you as leading up to your fight here December 14th. And once again, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you for having me, everyone at Cagezilla. It's been amazing time. All smiles, all peace.
That's right, guys. All right, guys. Brent Hess here at Cagezilla Unchained, brought to you by the Wild Style Network. Signing off until next time. Much love and respect. We'll see you guys all very soon.